So I'm starting to think that we might be getting a little bit too comfortable as a species. We might be getting a little bit too naive. We're starting to look at nature as if it isn't scary. I think we're getting forgetful. I think we are forgetting how dangerous nature can be. And I saw a video where this 65-year-old man, this poor grandpa, I mean, he's lucky because he made it, by the way. Just in case you were hoping that this wasn't a sad ending, it's not. He made it. He's alive. But this 65-year-old man, he had to learn. He had to be reminded. And I think it's one of those things that's an unfortunate reminder for us all. I think we can all learn a little bit from this attack. A bison.
For the first time overnight, Carl McDaniel is opening up about his now viral face-to-face encounter with a raging bison last Friday at Montana's Yellowstone National Park.
A bison.
The 65-year-old grandfather, now recovering from a broken femur, after the massive animal chased him around a camp before tossing him high into the air.
Jesus.
McDaniel telling CNN, "We were about 100 yards away, and the bison was not aggressive.
It's
so
a
they snapped
bison.
A few photos
They're not
and continued
predictable.
walking." Photographer Michael
wasn't
Cloud
aggressive.
filmed the wild encounter.
They were doing everything right. They were respectful, and once the bison showed any agitation, they left. And they were just at the wrong time in the wrong place.
Everything was good.
McDaniel
Everything
says
was,
around that time,
on the
a
up
truck
and
drove
up.
by, and the driver honked his horn in what he believes was an apparent attempt to get the bison to move. And it worked. The sound agitated the bison, and it began running toward them. McDaniel telling CNN, "There was not a lot of time, so I told my grandson to run in one direction, and I went the other to try and
That's
draw
a good
him
man.
away." After
Good
chasing
grandpa.
the pair around a wooded area, the hulking animal eventually caught up to McDaniel and sent him flying.
Nature is
McDaniel
scary.
says he was on the ground and unable to move when something remarkable happened. "He was right on top of me. He could have stomped on me. He could have gored me. He could have done almost anything to take my life, and he
Anything.
did not do so." That's when the
Wow.
photographer says he immediately stopped filming and ran to help, yelling at the bison along with other Good Samaritans to scare it off.
Because I could see that bison was standing over him and was pumping his head, very aggressive and agitated. And I knew that somebody had to distract that thing.
McDaniel, who
And it
had
had to be
surgery
me.
on Sunday, said
No,
he's
that's a Good
grateful
Samaritan
for
right
all
there.
the people who helped and thankful it was not much worse.
Not much worse. That is the reminder that I think people need it. And I think it might have backfired just a little bit. And I'm hoping it was just, hey, I'm noticing this. But it felt like when the guy said, hey, he was on top of me. He could have done anything. He could have stomped me out. He could have ended my life so many different ways. It sounded like he might have been making some excuses, maybe personifying the bison a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much personification for my taste. That's just me, because it's a bison. It's a bison. He was completely fine. He was not aggressive. It's a bison. I know I keep saying that. So I guess I just don't understand. What kind of rationalization do you think is happening inside of this bison's mind? Do you think that this bison is comprehending all of the intricate ins and outs of the situation that's happening? Or do you think he just sees a whole bunch of these humans around? A whole bunch of these humans, and you could see that the bison, as soon as his picture was taken, he kind of just like fainted. He kind of just like acted like he collapsed for a second. Like, bro, you got me fucked up. You got me dead. You got me dead. And yeah, maybe they try to shift the blame a little bit by saying, hey, this guy that tried to help in the pickup truck and he came and he honked on the horn, it didn't really help. It irritated the bison even more. The bison did move, but then he moved towards them. He moved towards Carl. Poor Carl here ended up getting ran the fuck down. He got flown like 8 feet into the air. That is, it's unfortunate. I am happy he survived, by the way. I am happy that nobody was severely injured. But he broke a femur, I think she said. It's not nothing. I don't want to break a femur. Who wants to break a femur? Nobody wants to break a femur. But what's happening is we're looking at Mother Nature a little bit too much like a Disney movie. It's not as cutesy and as fairy tale-y as you might have thought. This isn't the nature walk that you assumed it would be. Poor Carl was just trying to take his grandson. Hey, we're gonna look at some bison, okay? And and look, they're at the Yellowstone National Park. I know that based on this video, I now know that some people just aren't built for Wyoming, and put me on that list. I'm not built for it. I can't I can't I can't be held responsible for what would happen if I was in said park and a bison came to run me down. I I don't know. I'm not gonna be as charitable. I just won't. I'm not gonna be saying stuff like, hey, he could have killed me. He could have stomped me out at any moment. And thankfully he didn't. Because that's Mother Nature. Graceful. They are just. They're not going to just go crazy out of nowhere. Something provoked this bison. I don't know. Like I said, he might have just been speaking out loud. Like, hey, this is what happened. That was like my near death experience. So in that case, I hope so, Carl. I hope that's how you look at this. I hope this wasn't like, hey, bison are gonna be bison, and at the end of the day, he could have killed me. But I don't know. I don't know how people talk in Wyoming, but yeah, this just I'm not built for that. Some people just aren't built for that Wyoming type of lifestyle. But I think we needed this reminder overall. We needed this PSA. Like, hey, by the way, if you see a wild animal, don't expect them to always act reasonably. Don't always expect them to act as if they were human. Just a suggestion. Just so you don't get run down by a bison. And like I said, he's a good grandpa. Hey, you run that way. I'm gonna distract him. He would have gave his life. That's heroic. He went home a hero. So this was still kind of like a feel good story to me. I don't know. It was still a kind of happy ending. Yeah, you got a broken femur. Hopefully that doesn't lead to anything like an infection or anything like that. I hope I'm hopeful for a speedy recovery for Carl. But sir, let that be a lesson to you. When your grandson is a grandfather, let him pass down the lesson. Hey, I know that CGI and animation, they make these animals look so furry, so cute, so approachable. But I need you to remember that we're vulnerable. That we are vulnerable. We're soft. We're so soft. We could die so easily. Okay? So I would hate to be put in a situation where I have to tell you to run the other way, grandkid, and then it's my turn to get flown into the air because I don't know if I can make the same decision as my grandpa Carl. He was a hero. I might have to tell you to take one for the team. You might have to take one for the team. Okay? Because you're young, you're spry. You might be able to take it. If I break a femur, shit. Fuck. I'm doomed. Okay? This is a young man's game. And if this is a situation, you would have drugged me out here. You would have said, please, Grandpa, this is the only thing I want to do. I want to go back out to Yellowstone National Park. And I would have reluctantly agreed. So this would have been your situation, your mess. Clean it up. I'm not built like Grandpa Carl. Let this be a lesson. Let this be a lesson to us all. And just in case you didn't feel fearful enough of the natural surroundings, like the different animals, the lions and the tigers and the bears, oh my. I need you to get a little bit scared. And I'm not trying to make you scared. I need you to at least be aware. How about that? At least be a little bit aware, a little bit up in arms, and a little bit, I don't know, yeah, frightened about this thing called the nanny state that seems to be getting increasingly bigger, larger, coming closer, and being more accepted, just inch by inch, slowly but surely. And I didn't even hear about these cameras these flock cameras. What the flock is going on? Have you heard about the flock cameras? These cameras that aren't just like your everyday traffic cameras. As if, having cameras literally everywhere wasn't enough. And I'm not saying it's a net negative to have cameras everywhere. I don't think it is. I don't think it's a coincidence that all of the different serial killers that were around back in the 60s and 70s and shit like that, there's a lot less now. And I don't think the fact that we have cameras and more advanced DNA testing shit out there, I don't think that's a coincidence that those have slowed down. So I'm not saying down with all the cameras, but there might be a flocking problem, man. There might be a little bit of problem with these flock cameras. So let's look at them.
Your community is telling you that we don't want this.
I think we should completely remove them.
Take them out.
Here in Pasadena, California, residents and city leaders grapple with what to do about flock,
No
the leading
surveillance, no
manufacturer
ICE,
of
no
automated license plate readers, or ALPRs. The cameras are installed at intersections and capture detailed vehicle data, which AI can analyze to identify people and alert authorities who say it's an important
They can
crime-fighting
and they
tool.
will.
But critics argue the cameras have created a mass surveillance network that's been tapped by federal immigration agencies like ICE to surveil
fact.
protesters and monitor individuals.
Which is a fact. And honestly, I don't want it to get too wrapped up in the whole anti-ICE thing. You want me to give my 2 cents about ICE? All right. I don't think they should be abolished or whatever. I think the masks should be taken off. Obviously, people keep getting killed. There was another ICE killing. There's been like 2 in this past week or some shit like that. It's getting a little bit ridiculous. And yes, I get it. You don't want these people to be identified and then they could end up getting doxxed or whatever. It's like, hey, but that's the same risk that police officers and any of the other law enforcement agency, they have to take that risk. Why wouldn't you? But getting rid of them, it's just as stupid as saying abolish the police or whatever. It's just not like, let's actually play this out. Are you sure? It doesn't make sense. So taking all that out of it, it doesn't matter what agency it is. If you think that this is only going to be used on illegal immigrants, you are severely mistaken. You are completely naive. And maybe it's that same delusion that we have with Mother Nature, like I was talking about with good old Carl running into the bison. Maybe it's that same type of delusion. It's the government. It's so cute. It's so fuzzy. It's the government. They're here to protect you. No. They are here to control. They are here to watch. And there are all these different dystopian predictions that can be found in movies and TV shows and books. And all of these people, they were onto something. This wasn't something that was just never going to happen. This was something that was unfortunately seeming inevitable. Inevitable to have this nanny state that is going to be forever looming over us. And yes, they are going to see if you are doing wrong stuff. They are going to be checking your name and all of these different details that are encroaching on your freedom to privacy. And it might feel like it's bad now, but I promise you, this is my prediction. I hope we could rerun this tape. We're going to go back and I'm wrong. Egg in my face. But my prediction, as bad as it feels now, it's only going to get worse. But let's see an example of where using these flock cameras went completely wrong.
Denver police wrongfully accused a woman of theft, which she actually didn't commit. So last year in Denver, Colorado, Columbine Valley Police Sergeant Jamie Milliman showed up to a woman's house. Her name is Chrisanna Elser, and issued a summons for her to appear in court. Now, he very confidently had accused her of stealing a package off a porch in a town, just one town over. The officer told her that he had tracked her car, and by the way, there's video of this, which we can't use for copyright reasons. But basically, he told her that they had been tracking her vehicle in the area using these.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna pause. We're gonna pause her right there before she continues this story. even if this was true, let's say the porch thief, this lady that got tracked down by her cameras and we ended up finding and blah, 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 all of that good shit. Let's say you caught her. You got the porch thief. Isn't this kind of what we were talking about earlier? This is going to be used. Obviously, it's going to be used. You think this is only going to be used by ICE? You think this isn't going to be used against the citizens of the United States? You don't think it's going to be used against us? It obviously is. It clearly is. So let's say she was guilty. If you are using these advanced technologies, these flock cameras, you are bypassing the privacy laws that we already had because you have these flock cameras. If you're bypassing that over a petty crime, and I'm sorry for the person that lost their package or whatever. I don't know what you got. Could have been expensive, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't really matter when it comes to what we're talking about right here. In this example, I don't care what got taken off of your property. That is a petty crime. It's not like this was used to solve a murder, which I'm sure it has, which is great, whatever. But this is a clear example of it doesn't matter how small the crime, something like this will be used. It's not like they're like, okay, we have these great technologies and it's going to help us get the worst of the worst. It's not like when it comes to petty crimes, they're going to be like, okay, let's do it the hard way. Let's do it the long way. In fact, when we do our paperwork, instead of typing it up on the computer, let's just do it, by hand. Let's write it. Instead of having it filed on the computer system, let's just have it physically and make sure we have everything like that hard copied. It doesn't really make sense. Why would they do that? They feel like it's just another technology that has been advanced and it's going to help them do their job better. And then that's just them. That's just the law enforcement agents and officers that are in right now. Let's fast forward a little bit. When this is normal, when having a flock camera is normal. Ever since I started on the force, we've had flock cameras, and it's obviously by then will be even more things that it will be just as terrifying to try and predict. So yeah, I think I just wanted to stop it there because that example right there, as small of a crime as being a porch thief, even though she ended up being innocent, by the way, she ends up proving her innocence, which shows the dangers of these cameras anyways, because it's not like right now they're 100% accurate. But let's say all the bugs get weeded out. Sure, it'll have mistakes, but for the most part, it actually catches people. It's going to be used on the smallest of crimes. Oh, jaywalking? Hey, buddy, we caught ya. We followed you all the way home, and now we know. In fact, we saw you smoking a doobie on the way back. You thought nobody saw? We flocking saw you. You're going to jail, punk. I think it's going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. They're already showing their cards. They're showing their hands. They're showing what they're going to do. You fucking porch thief. We got you. We've been following you. We know everything about your car. We know everything about you. We know your social security number. We know what you like. We know what your kinks are. We know how you like to be fucked. So when we need a confession, we need to send somebody, they're going to know what to do to please you and to get a confession. And guess what? We flocking gotcha. We gotcha.
Flock cameras. And they do rely on AI technology in order to kind of operate, to function, and also to gather data on everyone indiscriminately as you're out in public driving around. Now, the woman had to provide her own evidence to clear her name, which included, by the way, submitting her own camera footage and ring footage from the house where she was actually at during the time that the package was stolen.
She wasn't even there.
Now, what are flock cameras and why are they so controversial? Well, they're not the same as regular traffic cameras, which don't rely on AI, which actually are more regulated. These cameras rely on AI to record and catalog cars into a nationwide database.
Great.
They collect data on the model of your vehicle, the color of your vehicle, license plate number, bumper stickers, even scratches and dents on vehicles. If police agencies have a contract with Flock, they can search Flock's database.
It doesn't take a genius to see how this could go wrong. Are are we serious? Taking the crime out of it. Are we saying that the percentage of corrupt police officers is going to be zero out of nowhere? Obviously not. We all know that's not ever going to happen. So, are you saying that something as powerful as this is going to be in the hands of corrupt police officers? Again, we know that we can't do anything about it. It is what it is. And you can't just throw all of them out. We already talked about that. Don't just abolish the police. They're all corrupt. They're obviously, clearly not all corrupt. Clearly when some shit is going on and you call 911, who do you want to see? You want to see the boys in blue, or the boys and the gals in blue. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. You want to see the police. They're clearly not all corrupt, but we'd be lying to ourselves, lying to our population, if we said, hey, all of the corrupt police officers are gone. Having something as powerful as this. And okay, if you even wanted to say, well, it's only in the top agencies, but this is going to be all of them. Your local police officer is going to be, well, this is going to help us get a whole bunch of bad people. And that does include the ones that have nothing better to do because there's no real crime happening. You gotta catch the porch thief. Again, not trying to dismiss any of the losses and the pain that was felt by having your porch item stolen. I get it. I would be pissed. Just, by the way, my disclaimer. If that happened to me, I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be happy. So I'm not saying it's nothing. But comparing that to the real crime that's going on and looking at that as a real excuse to, let me just search everybody. I'm looking at your car. I'm seeing if it has dents and scratches and bumper stickers, down to the bumper sticker, dents and scratches of your car, the make and the model, the color, how many people are in your car, can we get facial recognition, all of these different things that are going to be integrated further that we haven't even seen yet. What else? And it's going in this database. We don't know what it's doing in this database, if it's having some sort of pattern recognition algorithm in place where it's able to say, hey, these are all the different people and this is how they connect and this is what they typically do, and this is the routine that they have, and because it's so massive, they're able to basically create a digital footprint on everybody. And it might sound like a lot, but when it comes to what the government would be willing to do, I feel like keeping track of 300 plus million people wouldn't be that difficult. If you have the will to do this, obviously it'd be difficult for me, you, the average everyday person, nobody, that wants to live their regular life instead of trying to be some sort of evil overlord taking over the world and feeling powerful and whatever the fuck is running these people's minds. I think for them it's a lot easier because they're able to just throw money at it. And it might seem like, well, there's so many 300 plus million people. Think about how AI was trained in the first place, how it literally was trained on every piece of content on the internet, just everything. It just fed it more and more. So thinking that 300 plus million, that's nothing. They were fed billions, if not trillions, of different things to be built in the first place. So yes, if we were, manually counting 1, 2, 3, 4 to 300 million, yeah, it would be a little bit long, monotonous, ridiculous, wouldn't make sense. But you have these different, these AI algorithms and systems, I don't know. That's for these fucking eggheads, I guess, to figure out and to sell to the government. So for them, it's like, okay, we can just set up a system in order to count all of this easily. And they'd be able to keep track of this easily. And by easily, I mean, yes, it is going to take some compute. It will cost, I don't know, $100 billion. The government's like, that's fine. We're just going to spend more anyways. Might as well spend it on something that will give me control. This was a no-brainer. You had me at hello. Of course. What else would I do if not take control, if not become the nanny state? And like I said, if you are not aware, you don't have to be scared. I was being way too, I don't know. I don't like that. You should be scared. It feels wrong. But goddamn, bro, you need to be aware of these these tendencies that people have, that they're actually showing. It's actually happening. People are getting locked up over in the UK over tweets. Up in Canada, people were getting their bank accounts frozen because of their views on something, not because of an action, not because they did something that is actually, malicious or violent or even illegal, but because they agreed with something that was the opposite of their government. Their bank accounts were frozen. Their freedom was taken because of an idea. So if you think that they're not going to use this, what protesters? We got them all. We know what they all do. I think it's like I said, it's only going to get worse. You got to be aware of how bad it is so you can at least notice that it's getting worse. And people, they're fed up. They're not trying to take this laying down. Thankfully, I'm not the only one that feels a little bit alarmed. I'm not the only one that's feeling like something needs to be done. And by the way, I don't condone what is happening. I don't condone all of the destruction of public property. Just disclaimer. But I do understand. The feeling to do something. The need to feel like you're changing something at least. So let's see how people are responding.
Flock cameras are back on the news tonight. More of them have been cut down in Houston. Earlier this week, we told you about 2 of the license plate reader cameras vandalized near Washington Avenue.
Yeah.
Now 2 more have been found on the ground near Memorial Park. And the damage comes amidst all the controversy over this public surveillance technology. Sarah Al-Sheikh reports.
The camera that once stood here is gone. All that's left is this pole. Across the street, another one taken down as well. A criminal justice expert tells me this could be a sign of the growing public unease with this type of video surveillance.
It could be.
In 2 different parts of Houston, the same scene. Surveillance cameras lying on the ground. 2 near Memorial Park, 2 more near Washington Avenue and Westcott. All part of Flock Safety's automated license plate reader network used by Houston police and other law enforcement agencies.
What did you
Houston
expect?
Police confirming an investigation into this. While the motive is unknown, the technology itself has drawn criticism in the past from people concerned about the data they're collecting.
Yeah, do you think that could be the issue? Maybe. The motive is unknown. They didn't leave a note, but there has been some issues in the past where people just don't like the fact that their privacy is being violated. You think that this has something to do with that? You think that this might have something to do with the public fighting back and feeling like this alarming, overwhelming feeling of what do you even call this? It's not protection. You can't call it protection. Nobody feels protected. Nobody feels like, oh, you got the criminal now. You got the porch thief. Good job. And by the way, you got these fucking cameras. They're so good that they couldn't figure out who was cutting down the fucking cameras. How good are they? I don't know. Obviously they're pretty good because that's the reason why people are upset. It's crazy how even when covering this, the motives are unclear. I guess it's people seeming upset. And it's crazy how more people aren't feeling upset. Even though I said I'm happy that I'm not alone, I do realize that it's not like most people are alarmed by this. It's not like most people are feeling threatened by this, where they feel like they're being spied on, where they feel like this is a severe violation of their privacy. Some people feel like, yeah, well, what are you gonna do? So you gotta stop the criminals. You want to stop the criminals and the terrorists, and the illegal aliens, because they're aliens. Oh my gosh. And yeah, I think so many people are upset right now because of that last point. Oh, they're just trying to get the illegal people. They're free to be here. This is the melting pot or whatever the fuck. They're just upset about that. Not even upset about their own privacy being violated. Not even upset about that. I don't think that's what it is. And clearly you have some people that are raising the alarm bells for that. But when it comes to acts like this, and maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like it's almost, I hate to say tainted, but it's almost taken over by people that are just anti-ICE. that are just wanting to say, no, this is just another tool for ICE and they're terrorists, whatever the fuck they're trying to say. I think people might look at anybody that is anti-flock cameras and say, oh, it's because what? Because of ICE, and they might just like roll their eyes and think, oh, this is because you're anti ICE. This is just because you don't want illegal immigrants to be rounded up and this to be used for them. So it's like a whole bunch of a clusterfuck where I think people just need to get their priorities straight. They need to actually be alarmed about the right thing. And right now I think the message might be a little bit tainted. But this is just the beginning. Mark my words. Mark my words. Like I said, we could bring it back. We could rewind this video one day, and I hope it's egg in my face. But I think it's gonna get worse. Everything that we're like, oh, they're gonna eventually do this. Think back, even just 20 years ago. I guess maybe even more, because think before 9/11, before they had the Patriot Act, before they said, hey, I don't care about getting a warrant from a judge. Fuck all the whole privacy thing that we need for our citizens. This is about catching terrorists. We are in danger. We need to make sure that we are ready. So they passed this, and it's continued to get passed. Every single time they go to vote on it again, it continues to get passed because they're not going to give up that control. So if you think back then, where it's like that was already such a violation, it was already something that should have gotten the public a little bit more alarmed. I think things went exactly as they were planned. Just like we thought. We inched forward a little bit, something happened, and we were able to use that and make something out of it. No crisis. What's the saying? It's like no crisis goes. It's some shit where like you every crisis, every time something bad happens, you can make something out of it. You can make some good out of it. Make the lemonade out of the lemon, or whatever the hell. I think it's just going to get worse. Looking at that, seeing how more and more of our privacy is being violated more and more. It's going to be something that people that aren't born yet, they're just going to be used to. Think about the fact that everybody is going to have a digital ID is so new to us, but it's going to be so normal for everybody from here on out. Knowing that, all right, people that are up in arms now, people that are upset now, they're eventually just going to accept it. They're eventually just going to realize that this is life. This is just a part of life. And they'll feel like nothing has happened too much. It might feel like they're just conspiracy theorists and all of these what ifs and hypothetical scenarios that can be talked about using these flock cameras. Well, they won't be able to point at too much. Nothing will be drastically happening. And it's because it's such a slow burn that I feel like people won't even really notice until you kind of look back. You almost have to look back in decades. You feel me? And other news, we just can't seem to stop this whole war thing as a country. We can't seem to stop going to battle with Iran. And I'm getting a little bit of whiplash. You feel me? I'm getting a little bit of he said, she said with this. I don't know what to believe. So many things have been told to me. I feel like I'm being fed propaganda. I feel like everybody's just a liar. And that's the feeling that a lot of people are having, because we were perfectly at peace. We were supposed to be all good. The only issue that we maybe had would have been maybe like Israel bombing Lebanon, whatever. We should have been good, right? Everything is good, right? Because we were at this deal how many times? This was finally where it was supposed to happen. And of course, it blew up. Nobody wanted it to blow up, but Israel probably wanted it to blow up. That's why they blew a whole bunch of shit up in the process. But still, a lot of people were rooting for this deal. Maybe this was people just trying to reload. Maybe everybody was just bluffing and nobody trusted the other side. Maybe. But it does seem clear that neither side can be trusted. by the way. That includes my country. That includes the US of A. And it's not just us. Obviously it's Iran. Obviously it's Israel. Obviously it's these people that think that they can give their word on something and go back. And then the people that end up suffering the most are the ones that have nothing to do with this shit. The ones that just happen to live there, just happen to fight for the army of their country because that's how they provide for their family, or that's how they provide for themselves, whatever. They just happen to live there. And now everybody else has to pay the price. So we go from everything being good, everything being all right, to Donald Trump saying that they're complete scum.
We attacked very powerfully last night the very dangerous people from Iran. They're sick. There's something wrong with them.
So sick.
We said, go and do your funeral stuff. And instead of that, they start shooting rockets at ships yesterday. And so we hit them very hard last night, very hard. I would say 20 to 1, 20 times tougher. And I told them every time you hit, we hit.
What do you
and
believe?
Of course, they're dirty players, so they go after everyone, probably including me. I've been number one on their list for years.
Yeah.
And they're a bunch of scum. You want to know the truth? They're scum. And so we don't like them. I don't like them.
We don't.
And they're evil people, and it's the denuclearization of Iran. And we're going to denuke it. We're not going to let them because they're crazy and they can't have a nuclear weapon.
Okay, yeah, we've heard this before, Mr. President. Whatever. All right. Can I even say I believe you with a straight face? No, I can't. I can't. I'm sorry, sir. Nobody believes you anymore. And by the way, if you didn't know, that's what propaganda sounds like. They're complete scum. Every time we want to sit down and make a deal, they end up back at, like, everything that he said, by the way, everything that he was accusing them of, we've done ourselves. It's not like this is a one-sided thing. And by no means am I saying we're just the bullies alone and we're the only ones doing it. No, like I said, it's a two-sided thing. It takes two to tango. Okay? And I know you want to just point your finger and say it's the other side. Believe me, we don't like them. They're mean. After all of this, your argument has been boiled down to you're mean. We don't like them. Every time we try to do something, they kind of stab us in the back. It's like they can't trust us, and now we can't trust them. We don't like them. We don't like them. And this was the complete opposite, and it's a ride, by the way, trying to keep up with the narrative that the president tries to spew out of his mouth. It's a ride for sure. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of round and rounds. There's a lot of twirls and loop-de-loops, okay? There's a lot. There's a lot to see. Every single time that he says something, it basically contradicts the last thing he said. So there's a lot. There's a lot. And some people, they do question why you keep changing the narrative.
Last month you said Iranian leaders were very rational people, nice people to deal with, strong people, smart people.
Right.
Today you said they were scum, sick people, and being led by sick people. What changed, and
what happened?
I got to know them. So I've said that about a lot. Now, when you say rational, I think they're much more rational than level 1, level 2. Level
of course.
1 is gone, level 2 is gone. This is level 3. I think they are more rational, but based on their actions over the last week or two, they're not doing a service to the people.
What?
And I think more than anything else is I got to know them, and I'm not sure I want to make a deal with them. We can play games, but I'm not sure I want to make a deal. Let's just finish the job.
Let's finish the job. Okay. We've already determined that it takes a lot more than we are willing to do to finish this job. Okay? It takes a lot more. And I tried to understand what he was saying. So you said they were rational. What happened? Oh, well, I got to know them, for one. And there's different levels. There's level 1 of rational. There's level 2, and then now we're on level 3. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like he's one of those people that he has so much going on in his own head, and he's categorized things in his own head that when he goes to speak on it, and there's level 1 and level 2, and now they're on level 3, he acts as if everybody has the references and context that he has inside of his mind. Like, sir, we have no idea what you're talking about. You just told us they were rational. You're about to make a deal. You're sitting down at the table. Everything was good. You were sending JD out there, and he was making his rounds, and he was saying, "Hey, this is look, this is what the president," and he was being the puppet that he has to be. He was being the puppet that he was told to be, and he was doing what he had to do. And now we don't see JD because, you know, we're back at war. We're back at the bombs. We're back at 20 times. No matter how hard they hit, we're going to hit them 20 times as hard. But before, sir, you were saying we're running out of bombs. We can't continue this. This is bad for our economy. I don't know what to believe. That is what propaganda sounds like, by the way. That's what propaganda sounds like. That's what it sounds like when somebody doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. When somebody's just trying to figure things out. You're just constantly just trying to figure out where things are, where the pieces are, what you got to do, and you need to find your place. You need to find your footing because you haven't even figured that out. You don't even know where to go from here, what direction. You're just shooting in the dark. It's getting sad. It's getting sad that this was even an attempt by our government. And I wish I could say that this was an isolated event. Clearly isn't the only time that this has happened. Clearly isn't the only president that has walked into this, I would say mistake, but it seems like choices. It seems like these are choices. It seems like we just don't know how to stop going to war. We don't. We just, there's something. There's something behind the scenes, and I feel like so many people try to explain it. There's something back there in the dark shadows behind the scenes that's making this an issue, that's making this a problem that continues over and over despite what it means for our country. And people will say, like, oh, you know, this isn't really best for America, but this is what we have to do right now. Like, they'll justify it. It's like, wait, hold on. Can you go back? How fucking treacherous are you to be an elected official of America and say, I'm going to do something that really isn't the best, you know, for America, but it's going to help our brothers in the Middle East, or whatever the fuck they want to say, whatever justification that they want to say. I think it's kind of like the flock cameras. Like I said, it's just going to get worse. It's just going to, actually, you know what? This isn't going to get worse. It's going to probably just stay much of the same. I'm not. Hopefully it doesn't get worse, where it's like, you know, you end up getting World War III, or you end up whatever. We're clearly going off a cliff fast when it comes to the power of our currency. We're clearly going downhill. But when it comes to something crazy like like a nuclear war, or World War III, or something like that, I'm still a little bit optimistic. I feel like it's not going to happen. I feel like there's some sort of game being played here where it's just like, I don't know. Where it's like everybody's just kind of always at war. I don't fucking know, man. I don't know. Like I said, there's shit that's happening in the dark shadows, in the corners, that is turning the gears for this, that is making this continue, that can have a president that goes in saying no new wars, no whatever the fuck, and have all of these promises. And again, it's not just him. Go back to every single president before him, and at least in the 2000s or whatever. I don't know as far as before that, but it probably goes like really far back. It probably goes further than just George W. Bush. But man, since 9/11, it's just like every single one of them. Well, I promise I'm gonna be different. Yes, we can. We're gonna change. And then you get fucking Trump, and you get old ass Biden. Like, it's like all of them. No matter how old you are, it's like, well, what do they call him? Genocidal Joe, or whatever the fuck, because you're completely fine with what's happening in Gaza and you're funding it and everything. It's like, well, we gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta do wars. Somebody's just back there saying, yeah. And it doesn't matter. Like I said, you can literally run on the platform. These people are lunatics. They're crazy. No new wars. We're not gonna do any of these forever wars. And then they get in. It's like, holy shit. I'm trapped. I'm trapped because somebody is just running the fucking system behind the scenes. Who fucking knows? Like I said, everybody has their own predictions. Everybody wants to point. They say stuff like the deep state, whatever. It's like saying the boogeyman. Who is the boogeyman? Whatever. It's the name that we use. The deep state is what we say. We know that there's multiple different, industries that are at play here when it comes to why these wars continue, why things like a nanny state even exist, why you would even want to have control over your citizens. As a citizen yourself, you would think, you'd be like, hey, well, this could, bite us in the ass. Why would we want this in our government when this could affect our kids or grandkids or people that we know that aren't just a part of this. And maybe it is one of those, we're in an exclusive club. Anybody that I know or even slightly know, they will be included. And I don't really give a fuck about anybody else. Maybe it's one of those. It seems like the regular people, they have nothing to do with how this government is run. And anybody that seems like a regular person that wants to get regular person things done, like, hey, let's balance our budget. Hey, let's just, make sure that we don't have unchecked immigration coming in here. Hey, let's make sure we're not doing forever wars. All of these regular things, like most people are just like, yeah, let's do that. Let's try to make our lives better. Anytime somebody has a regular person agenda, they seem to be molded and shaped into some cog in the machine. And, maybe it'll change, but I doubt it. I think it'll be much of the same. Just much more of the same shit.